Hey everybody, we're here talking about tunes again, and we'll have the fun tune of the week in just a moment. You may be asking, Bill, why are tunes important? Why should we care? Well, there's several reasons. It's excellent ear training, and it's good for your playing, and well, it's a skill you should have. It's a skill you should be taught. And some might say, well, Bill, I just don't play by ear, or I don't do it very well. But that's a skill you can improve. And it's a skill that should have been taught from day one. Let me explain what I'm talking about. Well, first of all, think about this. If you're going to study German, or French, Spanish, Japanese, Russian, whatever. You go to university, spend 4 years, sometimes 5 or 6, maybe more, and you spend $100, $200, $300,000, depending on the school, for this education. That's a heck of a lot of money. And you want to get your money's worth. I mean, our part of the world, that could buy you a really nice house. So, you have mortgage size cost and maybe debt starting off. You would think that you would get the most bang for your buck. You would be able to read the language, write the language, speak the language, translate the language, okay? Understand the different connotations and situational uses of words, terms, and phrases, and also the cultural aspects of the language. You would expect to be completely fluent in the language. But when you go for a music education and spend the same amount of money, depending on the school, you leave without, in most places, without knowing how to play by ear or be able to play tunes just by ear, whatever key. Could be simple tunes. So many people can't do that. You go down to your local symphony and ask them to play some simple tunes or some excerpts that are common to their instrument, and ask them to play it in 3 or 4 different keys. Will some be able to do that? Yes. Will some struggle with that? Yes. And that's unfortunate. Is that because they can't be trained? No. They're some of the best players in the world. So they certainly have the talent and ability to do that. They may lack the training. My good friend Richard Murrow, who has taught at TCU for 25 years, longer. Sorry, Richard, if I messed that up. He has students where every semester they have to learn a tune or maybe more in several different keys and get away from the paper. Get away from the ink, so that's not an anchor to music making. Okay? It's not an anchor around their neck holding them down. Well, it's a simple concept, and it should be easy. Hey, start off with Mary Had a Little Lamb. Something we all know. Easy, right? But students balk and are resistant to that. Why? Well, they weren't started off that way. They were anchored to the paper as the method of making music. And if you've ever listened to any of the teachings of some of the greats, including Arnold Jacobs, you know that the paper is not what it's all about. It's about the music. He even commented about taking melodies that belong to other instruments, or whether they're orchestral melodies or stuff from pop music. And he would go home and buzz them on the mouthpiece, play them on his instrument. We should be able to do those things. And if you can't, that's okay, because that's a skill you can develop. And you can start off as simple as Mary Had a Little Lamb. I play other tunes that I know, but I've been doing this since day one. And there are people who are a lot better at it than I am. But I have no issue trying to play something in various keys. And it can be done. That way, you can be musically fluent. We have bachelor programs, graduate programs, and even DMA programs that are putting out graduates who are not completely fluent in their language. They don't have maximum skills and abilities that they're capable of. Now, maybe academia looks at that like they did years ago as, well, that's a jazz thing. I say, bull. That's a musician thing. And if you can't do that, you're not musically fluent. It'd be like the person speaking German. Well, I can't really translate it, or, I can read it and write it, but, I missed out on this one part. Well, you're not completely fluent. You still have work to do. And that's okay, because music should be an ongoing learning thing. So if that's where you are, no big deal. Let's work on it. Develop those skills. And you say, well, what's wrong with music, Bill? What's wrong with the printed page? Well, when I was going to school a few decades ago, when you did your semester juries, when you played your recitals, that was all done from memory. Despite popular belief, it was not for memorization skills. It wasn't for the sake of memorization. It was to get you away from the paper so you could internalize the song. Get the song in your head, get it in your heart, so you could own it enough to where you could make it your own and then sing it back out via the instrument and do something with it. That's the point. Okay? Yeah, in ensemble situations, music that we're not going to learn so intently that we really own it, we're going to read music and stay on the same page with our colleagues. But in a solo situation, I see so many people using music. Hello? Man, you got to own that so you can deliver that to the audience. That's what it's all about. How can you really communicate something that's stored up here and communicate it from the heart out through your instrument when you're so locked in to the paper? Get rid of that boat anchor around your neck. Okay? Play tunes. Start off simply. Work your way up. And then when you know a melody, you have it in here, you've had it in here for years, work it out to where you can sing it out through the instrument with the proper inflection. When we're playing music, we are communicating because music is a language. Okay? And we are much like storytellers. We have a story we want to tell. And if you've ever heard a great storyteller, they don't need the paper. And they may be skilled enough where they could, like an orchestral or a top band professional, top soloist, they can read the paper and it's going to sound great. But when they get off the paper and they really tell it from the heart, they can deliver all the proper and different dictions, inflections, the different meters, pauses, acceleration, all the things that go in to telling a dynamic story, where they can convey all the meaning and emotion they want to. We do the same thing on our instruments. That's being a musician. You're a storyteller. And if you don't know your story well enough to tell it off of the paper, it's going to show. If you can own that story and you know that story and you tell it from the heart and you put all the dynamics and inflection and everything that goes into telling a great story, whether it's happy, sad, whatever, that's when you really reach and touch an audience. Okay? And it starts off with stuff as simple as Mary Had a Little Lamb. Now, during some of my discussions with Richard and a couple of other folks, we talked about how, well, that kind of sounds like Suzuki Method, you know, and in a way it is. And we would be much better off, and I'll challenge you on this, we would be much better off if in beginning band, we would, after going over breathing fundamentals, how to produce a buzz, and just some of the very basic stuff, before we go straight to the music and say, here's an F, that's your first note. And we anchor the mind to the page on the first note. Oh, F is this on the paper. No, F is a pitch that we play on our instrument. Why could we not have them play a song? The first day on the instrument, okay? Start on F. Mary had a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb. Okay, why can't we do that? Because what they're going to do, they're going to read the pitch on the paper. They're going to look at the ink. Some are going to hit it. Some are going to be above. Some are going to be below. Some are going to struggle. But if they have it in their ear, what the song sounds like, and they have the starting pitch, you've given them a chance to be successful on the first day. Yeah, maybe they can't reach up there and hit that A flat first valve the first day. Okay. But maybe by the end of the first week, they're on the road to becoming musically fluent. They're getting their first ear training. And a lot of the people I went to school with, they didn't like ear training. I thought it was boring because listening to a single line, I had it the first time. And when we went to the 3 and 4 part stuff, first 3 or 4 times they played it, I had all the parts written down. I had been arranging and writing parts since I was 15 and taking them off of records and imagining them in my head. Been singing harmony, doing all that. Well, it's because I had the opportunity to do it. Not because I'm especially talented or gifted. It's because I had the opportunity and nobody told me I couldn't do it. Or that's not how we do things. I just did it. But the ear training, that should have been great. That should have been a class everybody looked forward to because it's going to build a skill. It's going to make you more marketable when you can play by ear. And I know that from my own experience. The first time being when I was 14, I got my first paid gig. My high school band director, who played in the Air Force band, the Air Force Academy band, was a superb tuba player. A guy came to town, opening a German restaurant, played accordion. He was looking for a tuba player. Somebody referred him to the high school band director. High school band director who could play circles around anyone. He had spent 20-something years in the Air Force and was a terrific musician, but he didn't play by ear. So he told the guy, he says, I don't really play by ear very well. He said, but I have a student who does, and he'll know most of the hits, which is true. I knew most of the songs that we started off with. But, hey, good for me, right? And if you all don't want to play by ear, we'll take your work, but that's not the point. The point is that you have another skill you can develop to make you more marketable. And it's just not for jazz. And it's for being a better musician. So you can be musically fluent. You need to be completely fluent or work towards that. We all do. So that's the reason. That's the purpose. That's what all the fuss is about. So if you have comments about that, you have questions, you have a different thought process and you want to share it, and we can have a good discussion about how to help each other improve, I'm all for that. Put that in the comments, but I want to challenge you to start off playing something simple. So today, I'm going to give you a little Mary Had a Little Lamb, and then we'll finish with something that's a little further down the road than Mary Had a Little Lamb. So here's Mary Had a Little Lamb. The first note is F, which is the third of the key, or of the tonic chord, which means we're in the key of D flat. Well, Bill, why would you do that? Well, we start off on F because that's the first note most beginners see on the paper. But we want to establish it as a pitch, not have them anchored to the ink. Secondly, they get to play their first song, and it's in D flat. And any later fears or problems, confusions with D flat 2 and 3, we eliminate those at the beginning. So play along. It can be that simple starting off, and then have fun with it. And your beginners can play a song the first day, the first week, and they can get them really excited about playing their instrument. Plus, they're getting ear training right away. They already have it in here, just in the brain, out the heart, through the instrument, to the audience. Easy peasy.